Unable to find my wife at the corporate party and thinking she'd gone home, I was about to leave when her colleague silently guided me past a storage room, where her unmistakable moans shattered my world. Be me, 29 years old, living in Chicago, working as corporate lawyer. Life seems perfect from the outside, looking like an Instagram dream come true, married to woman I'll call Elizabeth. Story starts on a cold winter night, tension already hanging in the air like storm clouds. Elizabeth pacing around our house for hours. She's trying on dress after dress, mumbling under her breath about nothing looking right. Finally picks out this red cocktail dress. It hugs her figure way too well. Turns to me with this weird half smile. "What do you think?" she asks. Spins around like she's doing a photo shoot. Not like her to care what I think. Usually she's super confident, almost intimidating with how sure of herself she is. But tonight she seems nervous. Tell her she looks great because she does. Something feels off about how she waits for my answer. Like it actually matters this time. Party is for her company. Some big annual celebration thing. Been to one before a couple years back. Know exactly what to expect. Overly chatty coworkers. Cheap champagne trying to pass as expensive. Endless speeches that drag on forever. Not excited about going at all. But Elizabeth insists. Everyone's bringing their spouses, she says. Her tone is all clipped and sharp. It'll look bad if you don't come. So I cave and agree to go. Parties at some fancy hotel downtown. One of those places with crystal chandeliers everywhere. Waiters in tuxedos floating around with champagne trays. Moment we walk in, Elizabeth becomes a different person. All that nervous energy just vanishes, replaced by this effortless charm, drawing everyone toward her like moths to flame. She's flitting from group to group, laughing too loud, touching people's arms just a bit too much. I'm hanging back, sipping some overpriced whiskey, watching her work the room. She looks stunning, but something's not right. Way she carries herself feels different. Not just tonight either. Lately, she's been coming home late more often. Her excuses getting more vague each time. Always some new client, or urgent project, or whatever other reason she can think up. She's gotten more defensive too. Snaps at me over smallest things. I'm not stupid though. Been holding back my concerns. Telling myself I'm just imagining things. That I'm being insecure. But there's this moment when your gut stops whispering and starts shouting at you. Tonight it's deafening. Happens right in middle of CEO's endless speech. Elizabeth sitting beside me. Her phone lights up on table. She grabs it faster than I can see screen. Mutters something about work emails. Her fingers dancing across keyboard. Expression all tight and focused. Watch her trying to be subtle about it. "Everything okay?" I ask. "Yeah, just something I have to handle real quick," she says. Won't even look at me. 5 minutes later, she excuses herself. Says she needs to freshen up. I wait there, staring at my empty glass. Stomach getting tighter with each passing second. She doesn't come back after 10 minutes. Get up to find her. Check bathrooms first. Empty. Bar areas packed, but no sign of her. Walk through entire ballroom. Scanning every face. Still can't find her anywhere. Finally, head toward coat check. Thinking maybe she stepped outside. That's when I hear it. Muffled laughter. Low and intimate. Coming from behind partially closed door. Heart starts racing. Every nerve in my body screaming. Telling me to turn around. Walk away. But I can't. Push door open just enough to see inside. And there she is. Elizabeth. But she's not alone. This guy Andrew from her office. He's leaning in close. Hand on her waist. Elizabeth giggling. That high breathless laugh. One she used to save just for me. My chest feels tight as I watch. She's leaning into him. Her lips brushing his ear. Whispering something I can't hear. Feels like someone's twisting a knife in my gut. Tearing through everything I thought I knew. Stand there for what feels like hours. Completely frozen. Mind racing with million thoughts. Can't settle on a single one. Then she sees me. Her eyes lock onto mine. For a split second, whole room seems to freeze. Elizabeth's face goes pale. Her laughter cuts off like someone hit pause. Andrew turns around looking confused. His hands still on her waist. Like they belong there. Feel my whole body go cold. But my blood is boiling. Every muscle ready to explode. "Well," I say, stepping into doorway. Voice coming out unnaturally calm. "This is cozy." Elizabeth jumps back like she's been shocked. Pushes Andrew's hands away. Like that would somehow erase what I just saw. "Robert," she stammers, voice all high-pitched and panicky, her hands fluttering around uselessly. "It's not what it looks like." I let out this laugh. Short and bitter. Doesn't even sound like it came from me. Really? Because from where I'm standing, looks like my wife is whispering sweet nothings to some guy in coat check at her work party. Andrew has audacity to step forward. Hands raised like he's surrendering. "Hey man, this isn't what you think. We were just..." "Don't," I snap. Cut him off so sharp he actually flinches. My eyes burning into his. For a moment think I might actually hit him, but turn back to Elizabeth instead, because she's the one who made vows to me. What the hell is going on, Elizabeth? My voice getting louder, raw with anger. She looks like deer in headlights, mouth opening and closing, trying to come up with something, anything to get herself out of this. Finally, she blurts out, "We were just talking, that's all." Talking, I repeat, voice dripping with disbelief. In a coat check room with his hands on your waist? You expect me to believe that? Her expression hardens, panic shifting into something sharper, more defensive. "You're overreacting," she says, crosses her arms over her chest. "I came in here to grab my coat, and Andrew followed me. It's not a big deal." Andrew, still standing there like an idiot, mumbles something about needing to leave, awkwardly slips past me into hallway. Barely notice him go. My focus laser sharp on Elizabeth. She's glaring at me now, like I'm the one causing problems. "Do you think I'm stupid?" I ask. Voice dropping dangerously low. "Do you really think you can spin this into something innocent?" She scoffs, rolls her eyes like I'm being dramatic. "I don't know what you want me to say, Robert. Nothing happened." My laugh comes out louder this time, angrier. "Nothing happened, Elizabeth? I heard you laughing with him. I saw the way you were all over each other. Are you seriously standing here, lying to my face right now?" Her jaw tightens. See something flicker in her eyes. Might be guilt, maybe fear, but then it's gone, replaced by cold defiance. "You're making this into a bigger deal than it is," she says, voice all clipped and proper. "Why are you even here spying on me? Do you not trust me or something?" The sheer audacity leaves me speechless. She's actually trying to flip this on me, trying to paint herself as victim, while I'm standing here shattered. "Trust you?" I repeat, voice shaking with anger now. "How am I supposed to trust you when you're sneaking off with another man at a party? God knows what else you've been doing. When I'm not around," her face hardens even more. She steps closer, her finger jabbing the air between us. "You know what, Robert? Maybe if you weren't so damn paranoid all the time, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Do you ever stop and think about how your constant need to control everything pushes people away?" Words hit me like a slap. Stand there for a moment, trying to process how we'd gone from her betrayal to me being the problem. My mind is spinning, chest tight with weight of everything unsaid. Finally step back, shaking my head. "I can't do this right now," I say, voice quieter but no less intense. "I need some air." Don't wait for her response. Turn and walk out, hands shaking as I push through crowd. Make it outside into cold night air, city lights blurring in my vision. First time in my life. Feel like I don't know who I am or who I'd married, and that was just the beginning. Cold air hits me like a slap. Doesn't clear my head like I hoped. Heart still racing. Hands trembling with adrenaline. Lean against lamppost, staring at city's glittering skyline. Trying to make sense of what just happened. Want to scream. Want to march back inside. Demand Elizabeth admit what I already know. Want to tell her how disgusting it is that she thinks I'd fall for her pathetic excuses. But most of all, I want answers. Real ones. Not the twisted half-truths she always throws at me when cornered. For years I trusted her. Given her everything. My love. My time. My faith. And now I'm standing in middle of downtown, feeling like biggest fool in world. Voice startles me out of spiraling thoughts. "Hey, Robert, right?" Turn and see woman standing few feet away. Looks vaguely familiar. One of Elizabeth's co-workers. Her name's Jennifer or something. She's holding cigarette. Eyes sharp and full of something. Can't quite place what it is. "Yeah," I say cautiously. "Can I help you?" She takes long drag of cigarette. Exhales smoke into cold air. "I saw what happened in there," she says, voice low and careful. My stomach tightens. She shrugs, but something pointed about her look. "Look, I don't know if it's my place to say anything, but you deserve to know the truth." My heart skips beat. Feel air around me grow heavy. "What truth?" She hesitates, glances around, making sure no one's listening. "Elizabeth and Andrew," she says finally. It's not the first time they've been like that. Everyone in office knows. Her words hit me like freight train. Stare at her, trying to process what she's saying. "What do you mean everyone knows?" I ask. Voice sharp as blade, she sighs, flicks ash from cigarette. "It's been going on for months. Late night meetings that don't make sense. Disappearing together at work events. I mean, they're not exactly subtle. Most of us just figured you knew and didn't care." Ground beneath me feels like it's tilting. Mind flashing back to all those times. Elizabeth coming home late, hair slightly out of place. Her excuses rehearsed but unconvincing. Nights I stayed up waiting, wondering if I was overthinking things. And all along, I'd been played for a fool. "Why are you telling me this?" I ask, voice raw and broken. She looks at me for a long moment, expression softening. "Because you don't deserve to be lied to," she says quietly. And because I've seen how Andrew treats women, you're not first person he's done this to, and probably won't be last. Bitterness in her voice hints at personal history, but I don't press for details. Too busy trying to keep emotions in check, stopping myself from marching back inside, tearing Andrew apart in front of everyone. Instead, force myself to nod. Thanks for telling me, I say. Words feel hollow in my mouth. She gives small, sad smile. Turns to leave, her heels clicking against pavement. Once she's gone, lean against lamppost again, gripping it like it's only thing keeping me upright. My mind is whirlwind of emotions. Anger, betrayal, complete disbelief. Elizabeth hasn't just crossed line. She's bulldozed through it, leaving nothing but wreckage behind. Take deep breath, trying to steady myself. Can't let this consume me. Not yet. Need to confront her, get truth out of her once and for all. No more excuses. No more games. Pull out my phone. Call her. Rings twice before she picks up. Robert, her voice shaky, like she's trying to sound worried, but can't quite sell it. We need to talk, I say, voice cold as winter air around me. Meet me outside now. There's pause. Can almost hear her scrambling, trying to come up with reason not to, but must realize she's out of options. She sighs and says, fine. I'll be right there. As I hang up, feel strange sense of calm wash over me. Not calm of acceptance. It's calm before storm. That moment when you realize there's no turning back. And I'm ready for storm. Hotel doors swing open. Elizabeth steps out into chilly night. Her red dress glimmers under streetlights. But she doesn't have same glow she wore earlier in ballroom. Instead, her face is drawn, eyes scanning street until they land on me. She hesitates for a moment, then starts walking toward me, her heels clicking on pavement, like countdown to disaster. Robert, she says, wrapping arms around herself, like cold is only thing making her shiver. What are you doing out here? Can we go home and talk about this? Word home hits me like punch to gut. What does home even mean anymore? No, I say flatly. We're talking now, right here. She stops a few feet away. Expression hard to read, somewhere between annoyance and discomfort. Okay, she says slowly. What do you want to talk about? I scoff at her pretense. You really think you can play dumb right now? I just watched you, Elizabeth. In coat check with Andrew, her mouth opens then closes, like she's deciding which version of lie to tell. Finally rolls her eyes. I already told you, Robert. It was nothing. We were just talking. God, why are you making this such a big deal? You were laughing with him, I say, voice sharp as broken glass, touching him, whispering to him. And now I know this isn't first time either. Her eyes narrow. What are you talking about? Jennifer, I say, save her flicker of panic crossing her face. She told me everything. How everyone at office knows about you and Andrew. How this has been going on for months. Elizabeth's expression hardens, shoulders squaring like she's preparing for fight. Jennifer's a bitter, jealous liar, she snaps. She's been trying to get me fired for ages. I can't believe you'd take her word over mine. Then why were you in coat check with him, Elizabeth? I demand, stepping closer. If it's all innocent, why sneak away like that? Why hide? Her lips press into thin line. For a moment, thinks she might actually admit it. But then she smirks. Cold, cruel twist of her mouth. Sends shiver down my spine. You know what, Robert? She says. Voice icy as winter wind. Maybe if you weren't so boring all the time, I wouldn't have to find someone who actually knows how to have fun. Words hit me like physical slap. Stare at her, chest tight, breath coming in shallow bursts. She's standing there, completely unapologetic, blaming me for her betrayal, like it's most natural thing in world. Wow, I say, voice barely above whisper. That's it then? You're not even sorry? She shrugs, looks away like she's bored. I don't know what you want me to say. You've been distant for months, Robert. Always working late, barely talking to me. Maybe if you'd paid more attention, this wouldn't have happened. Can't believe what I'm hearing. Woman I'd loved. Woman I'd built life with. Standing in front of me, tearing me apart piece by piece. And she doesn't even care. This is unbelievable, I say, shaking my head in disgust. You're actually blaming me for your choices? For cheating on me? She rolls her eyes again, like word itself is offensive. Oh, grow up, Robert. Nothing happened. You're acting like child. Feel something snap inside me. Damn, breaking under weight of everything. Been holding back. Nothing happened, I say. Voice rising with each word. You've been lying to me for months. Sneaking around with Andrew, and now you're standing here, acting like I'm the bad guy. Do you even hear yourself? For first time, her mask of indifference falters. Her eyes flash with something. Guilt, anger, fear, but it's gone as quick as it appeared. I'm not doing this with you right now, she says, turning on her heel to leave. Oh, yes, you are, I say. Step in front of her. You don't get to walk away from this, Elizabeth. Not this time. She glares at me, lips curling into sneer. What do you want me to say, Robert? That I've been hooking up with Andrew? Fine. There. Are you happy now? Is that what you wanted to hear? Her words hang in air, heavy and sharp, slicing through night like blade. I stare at her, weight of her confession, settling over me like crushing wave. No, I say quietly, voice trembling. That's the last thing I wanted to hear. For a moment, neither of us speaks. City noise buzzes around us, distant and meaningless. Elizabeth crosses her arms, looking away, while I stand there, feeling like ground's been ripped out from under me. Then with coldness I didn't know I had, I say words that will change everything. We're done, Elizabeth. You can have your fun with Andrew, but you'll be doing it without me. Her eyes widen, mouth opening to protest. But I don't wait to hear what she has to say. Turn and walk away, heart pounding, mind racing. Don't know where I'm going, but one thing's clear. I can't stay here. Walk through city streets, cold night air biting at my skin. Barely notice it. Mind racing. Replaying Elizabeth's words over and over. Like cruel loop I can't escape. Maybe if you weren't so boring, if you'd paid more attention, nothing happened. Fine, I've been hooking up with Andrew. Are you happy now? Finality of it hits harder with every step. 8 years together, and she'd thrown it away like nothing. Like I meant nothing. Don't know how far I walked. Blocks maybe? Miles. Eventually find myself in front of small diner. Neon sign buzzing faintly in night. Place called Midnight Grove. It's not home, but at least it's somewhere. Somewhere I can sit, think, maybe feel something other than burning ache in chest. Inside place almost empty. Lone waitress leaning against counter, scrolling on her phone. Elderly couple sipping coffee in corner booth. Slide into seat near window. Stare blankly at laminated menu. Not really reading it. When waitress comes over, order black coffee. Plate of French toast. Comfort food for man whose world just collapsed. While waiting, my phone buzzes. Pull it out. See her name on screen. Elizabeth. For a long moment, just stare at it. Thumb hovering over decline button. Part of me wants to answer. Let her explain. See if she'd even try to salvage what little was left between us. But another part that's been burned too many times tonight, knows better. Let call go to voicemail. She doesn't stop. Another call. Then texting. Then another. Robert, we need to talk. You're being dramatic. Come home. You're seriously going to ghost me after everything we've been through? Fine. Stay out all night. See if I care. Last message makes me laugh bitterly. Hurts more than I want to admit. Sheer audacity of her. Still trying to turn this around on me. Like I'm one at fault. Like I'm one who betrayed her. Coffee arrives. Steaming and bitter. Drink it anyway. Need something to ground me. Something to fill gnawing emptiness inside. French toast comes next, but barely touch it. Appetite completely gone, leaving only ache behind. Think about calling someone. My best friend Lucas, my brother Timothy, anyone, but can't bring myself to say words out loud. Elizabeth cheated on me. Feels too raw, too real, like saying it would make it permanent. Instead, stare out window. Watch occasional car pass by, wondering how hell I ended up here. Then as if universe hadn't tortured me enough. Door to diner jingles. Someone walks in. Robert, turn, and there she is. Elizabeth, still in her red dress, makeup slightly smudged, hair bit out of place from night's events. She looks around diner, eyes lock on me, mix of relief and irritation in her face. You've got to be kidding me, I mutter. She strides over to my table, heels clicking against tile floor, like metronome counting down to next disaster. Without invitation, slides into seat across from me. Expression mix of anger and desperation. What the hell are you doing here, I ask, voice low but sharp as razor. I could ask you same thing, she shoots back, leaning forward across table. You walk out on me, ignore my calls, and now you're hiding in some diner. Like a coward, her words light fire inside me. One I didn't know I had left. Coward? I hiss. You're calling me a coward? After everything you've done tonight? After Kochek? After Andrew? After all the lies? You've got some nerve, Elizabeth. She flinches, but only for a moment. Then her walls go back up, face twisting into same cold mask she wore earlier. I came here because we need to talk, she says, voice tight with tension. You can't just walk out on our marriage like this. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. You've got it backward, Elizabeth. You walked out on our marriage the second you started sneaking around with Andrew. Don't stand there and act like I'm the one who broke us. Her face flushes red. For a moment thinks she might actually apologize, but instead she leans back in seat, crossing her arms. You're not exactly innocent in all this, Robert, she says coldly. You've been so wrapped up in work, in your own little world, that you barely noticed me anymore. What was I supposed to do? Sit around and wait for you to care? Her words hit like punch to gut. But they only make my anger burn hotter. So that's your excuse? I worked too much. So you decided to cheat? That's your justification for destroying everything we built together? She looks away, jaw tightening, but she doesn't answer. Unbelievable, I mutter. Run hand through my hair. You don't even get it, do you? You don't see how selfish, how cruel you've been. All you care about is yourself. Her eyes snap back to mine. For moments, see something raw, something vulnerable flicker in them. But it's gone as quick as it came, replaced by same cold indifference she's been wearing all night. I'm not the only one to blame here, she says, voice quiet but defiant. Shake my head, laughing bitterly. You know what, Elizabeth? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm not perfect. But at least I kept my promises. At least I tried. Stand up, toss few bills on table. To cover my untouched French toast. I'm done talking. We're done. Don't follow me again. For first time, her mask cracks. Lips part like she wants to say something, but no words come out. She just sits there, staring up at me. Flicker of something that might be regret. In her eyes, but it's too late for that. Walk out of diner, leaving her behind. Cold night air wraps around me, like second skin. For first time in hours, feel something close to peace. Don't know where I'm going, but know one thing for certain. I'm not going back. Don't go home that night. Thought of stepping into house I shared with Elizabeth. Seeing her things, her presence lingering in every corner, makes my stomach churn. Instead, drive aimlessly for hours. City's empty streets blur past. Try to piece together what my life has become. Almost dawn when finally park outside. Lucas's apartment building in River North. Sit in car for a long time, staring at faint light in his window, debating whether I should go in. Hate idea of dragging someone else into my mess, but can't face this alone anymore. When I knock, door opens almost immediately. Lucas stands there, bleary-eyed and shirtless. Expression shifts from confusion to concern. Moment, he sees my face. Robert, he says, rubbing his eyes. Dude, it's what, 5 a.m.? What's going on? Don't even know where to start. Can I come in? Of course, he says. Steps aside to let me through. Walk in. Collapse onto his worn-out leather couch. Lucas follows. Grabs couple beers from fridge. Without asking if I want one. Hands me can and sits across from me. Waiting. She cheated on me, I say finally. Words taste bitter in my mouth. Lucas's face darkens. Elizabeth, he asks, like there could be any other possibility. I nod. For next 10 minutes, story spills out of me in rush. The party, Kochek, Andrew, her deflection, her coldness. By time I'm done, Lucas looks ready to punch hole in wall. Man, that's insane, he says, shaking his head in disbelief. I knew she could be a bit of handful sometimes. But this, she's lost her damn mind. She blamed me, I say, laughing bitterly. Said I was too boring, too distant. Like that justifies what she did. Lucas cracks open his beer. Takes long swig before answering. That's textbook, man. People like her. They'll do anything to avoid responsibility. Twist knife and make you think it's your fault. Lean back, staring at ceiling. What the hell do I do now, Lucas? How do I even begin to move on from this? He leans forward. Voice steady and sure. First, you don't go back. Not for second. She made her choices. You deserve better than that. Second, you get lawyer. Protect yourself. Your money. Your sanity. Everything. And third, he smirks. You crash at my place until you've got plan. No way am I letting you face this alone. His words hit harder than expected. For first time all night, feel flicker of something other than anger or despair. Gratitude, maybe. Thanks, man, I say quietly. Anytime, he says. Next few days blur into chaos. Phone calls, meetings, hard conversations. Call divorce lawyer first thing Monday morning. Lay out situation as calmly as I can. Lawyer listens carefully. Ask pointed questions about finances, about our assets. Whether I think Elizabeth might make things messy. Messy? I repeat word. Tastes strange in my mouth. I don't think she cares enough to bother. Lawyer raises eyebrow. Don't underestimate her, Mr. Carter. Divorce can bring out worst in people. She wasn't wrong. Elizabeth's reaction when I tell her about divorce is masterclass in manipulation. At first, she's defiant, scoffing at idea I'd actually go through with it. Oh, come on, Robert, she says, rolling her eyes. You're not seriously ending our marriage over one stupid mistake. Stupid mistake? I shoot back. Is that what you call months of sneaking around? Behind my back? She shrugs, tone dismissive. It wasn't like that. I laugh bitterly. Then what was it, Elizabeth? Enlighten me. When excuses don't work, she shifts tactics. Suddenly she's victim. She cries, begs me to reconsider, swears she'll change. Robert, please, she says, tears streaming down face. Don't throw everything away. We can fix this. I'll do anything, but I've seen behind curtain. Not falling for act anymore. You already threw it away, I say. Voice cold as winter. I'm just cleaning up mess. Final straw comes few days later. Elizabeth shows up at Lucas's apartment, pounding on door until we let her in. She's complete wreck. Makeup smeared. Hair mess, but her eyes burning with fury. You're staying here, she spits, glaring at me. Really? Hiding out like some child. Instead of dealing with this like adult, I cross arms. Refuse to rise to her bait. What do you want, Elizabeth? I want to talk, she shouts, voice cracking. I want to fix this, but you won't even give me chance. Lucas steps in before I can respond, his voice calm but firm. You need to leave, Elizabeth. Now, she turns on him, her anger spilling over. This is none of your business, Lucas. Stay out of it. It became my business, he shoots back. The moment you decided to hurt my best friend, so I'll say it again. Leave now. She looks back at me, eyes pleading. Robert, please. I shake my head. It's over, Elizabeth. Go. For a moment, think she might try to push further, but then her shoulders sag. She turns to leave. As she walks outdoor, feels strange mix of emotions. Relief, anger, sadness. But most of all, feel free. Finally free of her lies, her manipulation, her betrayal. And I'm not looking back. First morning after filing for divorce. Wake up on Lucas's couch to sound of blender working in kitchen. Smell of coffee drifts into living room. For a brief moment, feel something close to normal. But then reality sets in. My marriage is over. My life, at least one I thought I'd been building with Elizabeth, is gone. Sit up, rubbing sleep from eyes, as Lucas walks in with 2 mugs of coffee, hands me one without word, then plops down an armchair across from me. You look like hell, he says, grinning. Feel like it too, I mutter. Taking sip of coffee, Lucas studies me for a moment, then leans forward. So what's planned, man? You can't camp out here forever, I sigh. Run hand through hair. I don't know. House is too much a battlefield to even think about going back. I'll probably sell it, split whatever we get out of it, start fresh somewhere else. Lucas nods. Good call. Burn it all down and build something better. Thought of starting over. Feels equal parts terrifying and liberating. Don't know where I'm going, but know I can't stay in ruins. Of what Elizabeth and I built. Later that day, return to house for first time. Since night of party. Elizabeth isn't home, thank God. Have few hours to pack, without threat of another confrontation. Walking through front door, like stepping into ghost town. Everything looks same, but feels hollow. Pictures on walls. Furniture we picked together. Faint smell of her perfume lingering in air. All feel like artifacts. Of life that no longer exists. Go straight to bedroom. Grab suitcase from closet. Start throwing in whatever clothes I can fit. Movements quick, almost robotic. But mind anything but calm. Everywhere I look, see reminders of her. Dress she wore to last anniversary dinner. Bracelet I gave her for birthday. Lying carelessly on dresser. Bed we shared. Now feels like scene of crime. Can't stand it. Move faster. Tossing things into suitcase. Not bothering to fold them. Grab my laptop. My books. Anything that feels like mine. Haul it all down to car. On way back upstairs. For one final sweep. Notice her work bag by door. Half open. Inside can see stack of papers. Tablet. Sleek black notebook. Elizabeth obsessive about her notebooks. Uses them for everything. Work notes to personal scribbles. Part of me wants to leave it alone, but something else. Call it curiosity. Call it instinct. Pulls me closer. Reach down. Flip notebook open. Doesn't take long to find what I wasn't looking for. Page after page of scribbled notes. Timelines and texts. She'd copied entire conversations. Between her and Andrew. Likely so she wouldn't forget what they talked about. Each message is like dagger. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. You make me feel alive. In a way Robert never could. Can't wait to see you again. Same time tomorrow. My hands tremble as I flip through pages. Each one more damning than last. There are dates, neatly written in margins. Dates that line up with every late night. Every work emergency. Every excuse she'd ever fed me. It wasn't just cheating. It was planned. Deliberate, calculated. Final straw is crude little doodle. Drawn in corner of one page. 2 stick figures holding hands. Labeled me and Andrew. With heart between them. Slam notebook shut. Breathing heavy. Vision blurred with rage. But beneath it, there's something deeper. Something colder. This isn't just betrayal. This is cruelty. When Elizabeth comes home later, I'm ready. Sitting in living room. Her notebook on coffee table in front of me. My suitcase by door. She walks in. Eyes widen when she sees me. Robert, she says cautiously. What are you doing here? Sit down, I say, voice flat as dead air. She hesitates, then slowly lowers herself into armchair. Across from me, her gaze flicks to notebook. I see her jaw tighten. What's this? She asks. Voice steady, but eyes betraying her. Pick up notebook. Hold it up like evidence in courtroom. This is everything I needed to see, I say, tone cold as February wind. Your little diary of deceit. Your love letters to Andrew. Your dates. Her face flushes. For a moment, she looks genuinely scared, but then she straightens, expression hardening. You went through my things? Don't even try it, I snap. Don't you dare make this about me. You wrote it all down, Elizabeth. Every lie, every betrayal, every disgusting little detail. She opens her mouth. But I cut her off. Do you have any idea what it feels like? To read this? To see in your own words how little I meant to you, how much of a joke our marriage was. Robert, it's not like that. Don't! I slam notebook down on table. Make her flinch. Don't insult me by pretending. This wasn't exactly what it looks like. You're not sorry, Elizabeth. You're only sorry you got caught. Her lips press into thin line. For a moment, thinks she might argue, but then she sighs, shoulders sagging. You're right, she says quietly. I'm not sorry. Her admission hits like punch to gut, but doesn't surprise me anymore. I'm done, I say, standing up and grabbing suitcase. You can keep house, keep furniture, keep memories. I don't want any of it, but don't think for a second. I'm walking away empty-handed. My lawyer will be in touch. She doesn't say a word. As I walk outdoor, this time I don't look back, leaving house for last time. Supposed to feel like release, but as I drive away, weight of everything settles onto chest. Like cinder block, Elizabeth's words echo in mind. Sharp and unapologetic. I'm not sorry. Cold finality of it hits harder than expected. Not just betrayal. It's realization that she feels no remorse. She destroyed us without hesitation. Can't shake question gnawing at me. How long had she been planning to leave me behind? Emotionally, if not physically. Lucas waiting when I get back to his place. Already armed with takeout and six-pack. He takes one look at my face. Wordlessly hands me beer. So, he says, cracking his own can open. How bad was it? Let out long sigh. Collapse onto couch. Worse than I thought. Found her notebook. She wrote everything down. Every message. Every lie. He winces. Man, that's cold. Cold doesn't even begin to cover it, I mutter, taking long swig of beer. She looked me in the eye, said she wasn't sorry. Like I was one who should have seen it coming. Lucas shakes head, jaw tightening with anger. I know it doesn't help right now. But this isn't on you, Robert. People like her, they'll always find a way to justify their crap. Don't let her drag you into that spiral. I nod, but his words barely sink in. Mine too busy turning over next steps. Selling house, divorce paperwork, untangling years of shared finances. It all feels overwhelming, like trying to dismantle bomb with no instructions. And then there's Andrew. His smug face flashes in mind. My fists clench involuntarily. He wasn't just some random guy. Was someone who worked with her every day? Someone who'd been in our house, sat at our table. Lucas, I say suddenly, setting beer down. Yeah? What would you do if you were me? Lucas leans back, expression serious. Honestly, I'd focus on you, man. Elizabeth and Andrew aren't worth your time or energy. Let your lawyer handle divorce. Sell house, cut every tie you've got to her. But, I press, sensing there's more. He smirks, flicker of mischief in eyes. But if I did decide to send message, I'd make sure Andrew never forgot who he messed with. Idea hangs in air, tempting me. I'm not confrontational guy by nature, but there's something deeply satisfying about thought of wiping that smug grin off Andrew's face. You're probably right, I say after pause. But I need to be smart about this. Last thing I need is giving Elizabeth ammunition to use against me in divorce. Lucas nods, raises beer and mock toast. Smart move. But if you change your mind, you know where to find me. Next morning, wake up to another barrage of texts from Elizabeth. Robert, we need to figure out house. I'm willing to talk things out. If you stop being so stubborn, you're making this harder than it needs to be. Delete them without responding. If she wants to talk, she can do it through my lawyer. But one message catches my eye. Andrew wants to talk to you. He thinks you're blowing this out proportion. My jaw tightens. Nearly drop phone. Andrew, the sheer arrogance of it. He thinks I'm blowing things out of proportion. Thinks he can waltz into my marriage, destroy everything, then sit me down for chat, like we're old friends. Lucas notices my expression as I stare at screen. What's up? Andrew wants to talk to me, I say, voice low and dangerous. Lucas lets out bark of laughter. Oh, that's rich. What does he think? You're going to shake hands and wish him and Elizabeth the best? Don't answer. Instead, stand up, grab my keys, head for door. Where are you going? Lucas calls after me. To see Andrew, I say, voice steely calm. Robert, Lucas warns, standing up. Don't do anything stupid. I'm not going to hit him, I say. I just need him to understand exactly what he's done. Lucas sighs but doesn't try to stop me. Call me if you need backup. Andrew works at sleek downtown office building. When I walk into lobby, feel out of place in jeans and jacket. Receptionist raises eyebrow as I approach. Hi, I say, keeping voice calm. I'm here to see Andrew Carter. Her lips purse. Do you have appointment? No, I say, smiling tightly. But guarantee he'll want to see me. After moments hesitation, she picks up phone and dials. There's someone here to see you. Robert Carter. Can't hear his response, but her eyes flick back to me. She nods. He'll be right down. Wait by elevators. Hands stuffed in pockets, to keep them from shaking. When doors open, Andrew steps out. Looking every bit smug corporate climber, I'd imagine suit perfectly tailored, hairstyle just so, but his confidence falters. When he sees look on my face, Robert, he says, forcing smile. This is unexpected. Not for me, I say. Voice cool as winter morning. Look, I know things got a little messy. He begins, holding hands up like peace offering. But Elizabeth and I never meant to hurt you. Stop, I say, cutting him off. You don't get to justify this. You don't get to stand here and pretend you're good guy. His face flushes, but I don't give him chance to respond. You think you've won something, don't you? I say, voice low and steady. You think stealing another man's wife makes you powerful, like it's some kind of trophy. But let me tell you something, Andrew. You haven't won damn thing. You've attached yourself to someone who will betray you moment it suits her, just like she betrayed me. And when that happens, don't come crying to me about how you didn't see it coming. Andrew's smug veneer cracks, jaw tightening as he struggles to hold his composure. Look, man, he says, I didn't come down here to fight. No, I say, stepping closer. You came down here to save face, but I'm not here for your excuses. I'm here to tell you that you'll never matter, not to me, not to her, and definitely not to yourself. If this is how you measure your worth, turn and walk away. Before he can respond, leave him standing there in lobby, his carefully curated world, rattling around him. It wasn't revenge, but it was enough for now. Confrontation with Andrew should have left me feeling lighter, like I'd finally reclaimed piece of myself. From wreckage, Elizabeth caused, but as I drive back to Lucas's apartment, weight in chest only seems heavier. Thing about revenge, even kind that doesn't involve fists or shouting, is that it never truly satisfies. Walk into Lucas's apartment. He's sprawled out on couch, game controller in hands, glances up at me. Face mix of curiosity and concern. Well, he asks, drop my keys on counter, sit down heavily in armchair. He tried to play it off, like he didn't mean to hurt me, like he and Elizabeth were just victims of circumstance. Lucas scoffs, setting controller down. Classic, and he prompts, and I let him know exactly what he'd done. I say, no yelling, no punches, just truth. Lucas grins, setting controller down. Good for you, man. Bet he didn't see that coming. Maybe, I say, leaning back, but it didn't change anything. Elizabeth's still Elizabeth, and he's still smug idiot who thinks he's untouchable. Lucas nods slowly, expression turning serious. You're right. It doesn't change them, but it's not about them, Robert. It's about you. Getting closure, taking control back. It's all part of moving on. I stare at him for a moment, then let out breath. Hadn't realized I was holding. I guess next few weeks blur into logistics. My lawyer relentless, cutting through Elizabeth's half-hearted attempts to negotiate. Like scalpel through paper, house goes on market. Stings to think about strangers. Walking through place that was once my home, but no, it's necessary. Elizabeth tries to contact me. Few times during process, her messages swinging wildly. Between anger, guilt, and desperation. We need to talk about house, Robert. You don't have to do this. We can fix things. Are you seriously going to let some lawyer decide our future? Every time, forward her messages to my attorney without replying. Given her too much of my time already. One day, while boxing up last of my things at house, find something unexpected. Dusty old photo album, buried under pile of forgotten items. In closet, curious. Flip it open, pictures from our early years together. Camping trips, birthdays, lazy Sundays on couch. Elizabeth and I look so young, so happy. Can see it in our smiles. Way we leaned into each other. like we were only two people in world. For a moment, memories hit me like tidal wave, threatening to pull me under. But as I keep flipping through pages, something shifts. Start noticing cracks, forced smiles in later photos. Distance between us in group shots, where your eyes didn't light up same way anymore. By time I close album, realize something important. Version of Elizabeth I'd loved no longer existed, maybe never had. And that realization isn't just painful. It's freeing. First real sign of peace comes on quiet Thursday evening. Lucas and I sitting on porch of his apartment, couple beers in hand, city skyline glowing faintly in distance. You know, I say, staring out at lights. I thought I'd be angrier. Lucas glances at me, one eyebrow raised. Angrier about what? About her. About whole mess. Take sip of beer. But more time passes. More I just don't care. She's not worth it. Lucas grins. That's what I like to hear. Took you long enough to get there. I laugh, shaking my head. Yeah, well, better late than never, right? We sit in comfortable silence for a while, hum of city filling air. For first time in what feels like forever. Feel like myself again, not shattered version of me. Elizabeth had left behind, but guy I used to be when I finally go to bed that night. Sleep deeply and dreamlessly. Next morning, phone buzzes with notification. Email from my lawyer, confirming divorce papers signed. It's over. Stare at screen for a long moment. Finality of it settling over me. Thought I'd feel sad, or maybe even angry, but all I feel is relief. Clean slate, new beginning. Close email and stand up, stretching as sunlight streams through window. For first time in years, don't feel like dragging weight behind me. Don't know what future holds, but for first time in long time, I'm ready to face it. Divorce papers been signed for 2 weeks, but finality still feels surreal. Haven't heard from Elizabeth. Since documents were filed, not directly at least. Lucas tells me he ran into one of her friends at neighborhood bar. Apparently she's spinning some story about how I abandoned her, how she's one who was wronged, can't bring myself to care, how sold quickly. Too quickly, honestly. Feels like universe wants to erase every trace of that chapter as fast as possible. I'm fine with that. Money from sale is decent, more than enough to start fresh somewhere else. But starting fresh doesn't mean packing up and running away. No, it's about reclaiming what had been taken from me, my independence, my sense of self, my peace. First step is small but symbolic. Get new phone number. Not just about cutting Elizabeth off. It's about cutting off entire version of myself that had been tied to her. No more unexpected texts or accidental voicemails. No more giving her access to parts of me she no longer deserves. Next step, more daring. Lucas and I sign up for weekend hiking trip. Grueling 12-mile trek through rocky terrain. Not just about physical endurance, about proving to myself that I can face challenges head on. Come out stronger. First day is brutal. Legs burning, back aching, lungs feeling like working overtime. There are moments when want to quit. Tell Lucas I've had enough. Turn back. But every time think about giving up. Picture Elizabeth and Andrew in that coat check. Picture smug look on Andrew's face. Cold defiance in Elizabeth's eyes. Not going to let them win. By time we reach summit on second day, exhaustion melts away, replaced by something deeper. Pride. Stand at edge of cliff, staring out at sprawling valley below for first time in months. Feel alive. Lucas claps me on shoulder, grinning wide. Told you it'd be worth it. I nod, breathing in crisp mountain air. Yeah, I say quietly. It really is. When get back to city, make third and biggest move. Rent new apartment. Not much. Just one bedroom in quiet neighborhood, near Lincoln Park. But it's mine. No shared memories. No ghosts of past. Just blank canvas, waiting for me to fill it. Moving in becomes strangely cathartic. Don't bring much with me. Few boxes of clothes, my laptop, some books. Leave most furniture at old house, not wanting to drag those memories into my new space. Instead, take time picking out pieces that feel like me. First night in new place. Sit on floor with frozen pizza and beer. Surrounded by unpacked boxes. Room eerily quiet. Kind of silence that feels heavy, but comforting at same time. Stare out window. Watching city lights flicker in distance. Realize something important. For first time in years. Not lonely. Alone, yes, but there's difference. Elizabeth makes one last attempt to contact me a few weeks later. Sends email of all things. Long rambling message, full of half-hearted apologies and excuses. I know I hurt you, Robert, and I'm sorry for that, but you have to understand, I felt so trapped in our marriage. I needed something different, something exciting. I never wanted to lose you, though. I hope someday we can talk, maybe even be friends. Friends. Sheer audacity of it makes me laugh out loud. Don't reply. Don't need to. Nothing left to say. Nothing she could offer. That would make me give her another piece of myself. Instead, delete email. Block her address. Feels like closing door. Weeks turn into months. Slowly, pieces of my life start falling into place. Throw myself into work, but not like before. This time, it's not about distraction or escape. It's about building something for myself, something I can be proud of. Reconnect with old friends, kind of people hadn't seen in years. Because been so consumed by marriage, we go out for drinks, play pool, talk about everything and nothing. And then one night, meet someone? Her name's Nicole. She's not flashy or overly confident, like Elizabeth had been. She's warm, genuine, kind of person who makes you feel at ease. Just by being around, we start slow. Coffee dates turn into long walks, which turn into late-night conversations. That stretch until dawn. She never pries about my past, never pushes me to share. More than I'm ready to, and for first time, feel like I can be myself with someone. Looking back now, almost hard to believe how far I've come. The anger, the betrayal, the heartbreak, it's still there, buried deep. But it doesn't control me anymore. Elizabeth taught me harsh lesson about trust, about love, about cost of giving yourself to someone who doesn't value it. But she also taught me something else. Importance of knowing your own worth. If there's one piece of advice I give to anyone in my shoes, it's this: don't lose yourself. Trying to hold on to someone who doesn't see your value, let them go. And when you do, you might just find something better waiting for you on the other side. 1-year anniversary of divorce papers. Landing on Elizabeth's desk comes and goes quietly. No dramatic reflections, no lingering sadness, just steady hum of life. I've built for myself, one piece at a time. Nicole and I are sitting on patio of small Italian place downtown, splitting bottle of wine. When thought strikes me, I'm happy. Not just content, not just doing better, but genuinely, unmistakably happy. She notices me staring, tilts her head, smile tugging at corner of her lips. What? Nothing, I say, shaking head and grinning, just thinking how lucky I am. Her cheeks flush. She laughs softly. Well, don't jinx it. It's joke, but her words stick with me. Because that's the thing about happiness. After heartbreak, you're always little afraid it might slip away. But this isn't like before. This isn't fragile house of cards, built on grand gestures and unspoken resentments. This is real, built on trust, laughter, and quiet comfort of knowing you're with someone who values you for who you are. After dinner, walk through park, city lights shimmering in distance. Nicole slips her hand into mine, touch grounding me in a way I hadn't realized I needed. So, she says after a while, voice playful. Are you ever going to tell me full story about your ex? I chuckle, shaking my head. You don't want to hear it. It's long, messy saga. Try me, she says, nudging me with her shoulder. I hesitate. For months, avoided diving too deep into that part of past, afraid it might taint clean slate. Found with Nicole. But maybe it's time. Well, I begin, exhaling slowly. It started with corporate party and coat check room. Her eyebrows shoot up. Oh, this is already good. Keep going. As I tell story, find myself laughing at parts that once felt like daggers to heart. Coat check confrontation. Notebook. Elizabeth's pathetic attempts to justify herself. All of it feels distant now, like it happened to someone else. When I finish, Nicole's quiet for a moment, her thumb tracing lazy circles over back of my hand. You've been through a lot, she says softly. Yeah, I admit, but I wouldn't change it. Not now. Her eyes meet mine. Curious. Why not? Because it got me here, I say simply. She smiles, leaning head against my shoulder. You're a good man, Robert. She didn't deserve you. For first time, don't feel need to argue or qualify her statement. Just let it be. Life didn't magically become perfect. After that, there were still challenges. Stress at work. Days when felt weight of past creeping back in, but now had tools to face it. Learned how to set boundaries, how to recognize my own worth, how to prioritize things. That truly mattered. And Elizabeth, she became little more than footnote in my story. Chapter I'd closed, never to revisit, never found out what happened. Between her and Andrew, whether their fling fizzled out or they stayed together, didn't matter to me anymore. All I knew was that I was free from lies, free from manipulation, free from constant second guessing. One evening months later, get unexpected email. It's from Elizabeth. Stare at subject line. Can we talk? For a long moment. Debate whether to open it. Against better judgment. Click message. It's short, almost painfully so. Hi, Robert. I know I'm probably last person you want to hear from, but I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for everything. I didn't realize how much I was hurting you at time. Can't undo past, but I hope you're doing well. You deserve to be happy. Sit there rereading words, waiting for some kind of anger or sadness to rise up. But it doesn't come. Instead, feel nothing. Not bitterness, not resentment, just quiet sense of closure. Don't reply. There's no need. Close email. Shut laptop. Walk over to window. City stretches out before me, alive and full of possibilities. Nicole calls from other room, asking if I want to watch movie. Be right there, I say, smiling to myself. Elizabeth's chapter was over. My story had moved on, and for first time in years, I was exactly where I was meant to be.